Okay. What's up? What's up, everybody? You hear that? Come on, move with it. Move with it. Let's go. Let's move. Let's move. Welcome to the Tommy Show, where we heal, inspire, and inform through conversations about relevant topics impacting our communities and the world. I am your host, T.W. Suggs, and before I go any further, I have to give a shout out to P3 Christian Radio. The Tommy Talk Show is a part of the P3 Christian Radio family. We work in collaboration with the Culture Talk Show. We actually have the host of the Culture Talk Show with us today, Bashir Hogue. Woo, 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 woo. All right. A shout out to our producer, the one and only Keith Pelzer, and we are currently recording this in the Combos Lounge. So listen, I'm going to hop right into this. I asked you all a question. So last time for the last episode, the question was, what's the best cereal that's out there? And you all flooded my comments. You flooded social media. I thank you so much for the love. I saw a lot of Frosted Flakes, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Mm-hmm. It was so awesome. But this time, the question that I have, the community question is really silly. I'm a silly guy. Sorry. If you were a jelly bean, what color jelly bean would you be and why? And the responses that I received, I thank y'all for keeping them G-rated, because there's some fresh people out there in that community. I choose red because I could just read how that came out in my comments. Nasty. But no, y'all all kept it G-rated, and I appreciate you all for that. So I have Nicole Elise, who did say red. She said because of the deep color and its cherry flavor. Ira Warren was a guest for episode 1. Whoop, whoop. Ira Warren, she was on here for a conversation with Black producers. And Ira Warren said green, but she got real deep on me, right? So she said green because it represents fertility. But then she went a step further and she said green is actually a combination of yellow and blue. And yellow represents glory and blue represents heaven. Like, that was just bananas. I love it. Justina Green, she said she would be the red colored jelly bean because it's spicy. So that's the cinnamon ones. And anybody who knows Justina Green, you know she does not pull any punches. Sweet as pie, but she will give you the truth. I love me some Justina. Wanda, who is also a co-host on a Culture Talk Show, said green because it's bright, it's vibrant, it radiates joy. And Idalo, my homie who will be coming on in another show or two, said purple just because he likes grape. So it's as simple as that. Thank you all so much. Stay tuned on my social media platforms, TW Suggs, on Facebook and on Instagram for the next community question. So listen, I want to recap on our last show. So the last show was a conversation with Black producers. We had with us Taronda Jones, Ira Warren, and Kyle Godwin dropping them #nuggets. They were dropping. Keith is over there laughing. Nuggets. Who is dropping those nuggets and gems and pearls? Who is dropping so much? And we thank you again for just swinging through. Today's conversation is the worshiper's appetite. Are we still hungry for God? Again, the worshiper's appetite. Are we still hungry for God? And it's just something that came to me. I was actually chopping it up with a few people, a few worship leaders, and we were just talking about worship that we see like in today's church and whatnot, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where this came from. And I just said, let me ask the question and let's see who we can pull in the room to go and have this dialogue with, right? So I did a little bit of research. This is not my thesis, but it's a little bit of research, okay? So when you look up the word appetite, it's you find that it's a desire to satisfy a need or craving. It's a strong desire or liking for something, a fondness of taste for something. It's whatever you desire that satisfies a craving. And so appetites are not just natural things like food or rest or anything else like that. You can have an appetite for attention. You can have an appetite for money. You can have an appetite for belonging. You can have an appetite for all those things. But today's question, are we still hungry for God? Do we still have an appetite for God? And I'll take it a step further. I think many of us, what I theorize or what I feel is that in some instances, um, we tolerate the flavor of God, not that we're actually hungry for God. And I think that in some instances, the flavor of God has even become bitter in some of our mouths because we've been eating other things. And we have to be careful what we take in so that it doesn't conflict with the flavor and the appetite that we should have. All right. So that's where we're going today. That's just some of the conversations we have. So we're going to have with us Joshua Rogers, and we're going to have we're going to have Tiff Joy, and we're also going to have a panel discussion or a group discussion with Bashir Hogue, Kayla Johnson, and Scot Stevens. Stay tuned. What's up, beautiful people? Hopefully everybody's doing very well. Welcome back to the Tommy Talk Show. I am the host, T.W. Suggs, and right before me, I have the incomparable, the gem herself. Oh, yes. Oh, you're getting all of it. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You're getting all of it. I have the singer, the preacher, the exhorter. No. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You're getting it. You're getting it this day. I have the one and only Tiff Joy. Everybody, wherever you are, whether you're in your car, whether you're at home, whether you're doing dishes, whatever it is, just send some love to Tiff right now.
Oh, wow.
Tiff, you feel that? You feel all that love that's coming at you, boo? You feel it? All right. All right. Good. How are you doing today, sis?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I cannot complain. I'm even better now that I get to see your awesomeness on the screen right in front of me. Yeah. Listen, so we're going to go ahead and dive right on in because I'm so interested in what you have to say around this topic. All right. So for those of you who are listening, who may just be tuning in, the topic today is the worshiper's appetite. Are we still hungry for God? I'll say it again. I'm not trying to be all deep. I'm not trying to be super spiritual or nothing like that, but I'm going to say it again. The worshiper's appetite. Are we still hungry for God? And essentially, again, for anybody who's signing in, who's joining this conversation, we're always hungry. We're always eating. Just as people, we have voids, and we're always consuming, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's spiritual. And with all the things that we're consuming, have we left room for God? And it's just a question. I'm not making any assumptions. So, Tiff, real quick. So, Tiff, you are a singer extraordinaire. You've traveled this globe. I'm sure you've done international. I know you've done national. You're traveling all over the place. So let me ask you this question right here. Have you seen a difference in the heart for people of God from when we were kids, right? From when we were growing up? Because you grew up in a church, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay. Do you see a difference in the heart that people, or the posture? I think that's a better question. Do you see a difference in the posture and in the heart that the people of God had back then versus what we're seeing now?
That's a good question. I think there's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Not completely. Okay. Not everybody feels this way, right? But I think back then was just a little different. It was a bit more authentic.
Okay.
And our access to God wasn't always interrupted with social media and all of these other distractions, right? So I think when you add in social media, you add in the pressure of wanting likes, you add in the pressure of wanting to be just accepted by this multitude of people, right? Versus God, you assign me to this group of people, not necessarily the multitude, right?
Yeah.
And while it's it become less okay with us humans because we see it, so we see everybody else doing it. So
Wow.
my heart or my desire sometimes can um, be more about the response of people versus my heart for God and fulfilling your purpose. So now I'm worried. I'm more concerned about how many people are going to show up, how many people are going
Wow.
to like this
Come
post
on.
what I post. Let me sing this song, because when I sing this song, I'm gonna be able to post this part, and then this will get the
Wow.
likes.
Wow.
So I'm not necessarily thinking about the things of God. I am more consumed about uh, the people and everything else outside of God. So I think that
Wow.
is the change, and yeah, I think
Wow.
that's
Wow.
trouble area of humans.
I got you. I got you. Do you how do you So how do you navigate that as a worship leader, as a singer, especially because with this social media, people are coming in with, with expectations and, again, like wanting the likes and all of that jazz. So how do you navigate that? How do you pull the people in? How do you navigate that in this time when everything is so built on likes and clicks, which could perhaps hinder vulnerability, could
Hmm.
serve as a barrier for our worship and our authenticity with God. We just had on our previous show, we had Ira Warren in here, and she spoke about how Jesus dying on the cross, he was naked, and how that
Hmm.
same level of nakedness is required of us. So, how do you navigate that as a leader of worship in the church when we have all these barriers?
Um, I really think it's the worship leader, but I'll be more. I don't like to
Mm-hmm.
give it for everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's my responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
to remember the why. Remember
Mm.
why I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been in those spaces.
Yeah.
I've been in those spaces of, it was outside of God that I was looking for, the likes, or
Same
I
here.
was
Yup.
frustrated, and I've been in those spaces,
Yup.
and there goes the nakedness that the lady was talking about.
Yeah.
That I've been in those spaces, and I really had to deal with. I had to get into the self-awareness place and say, okay, Tiff, here's the reality. I'm looking for that stuff, but every time even if I get it, I still come up empty. And if
Yeah.
I'm coming up empty, then what am I pouring out?
Wow.
I'm not. I'm pouring from an empty vase. Like, I
Come
have to
on.
go get filled. So I have to be responsible enough to go into the presence of God, and I have to make sure I'm praying, and I have to make
Yeah.
sure I'm studying, and I'm fasting,
Yeah.
so I'm able to pour out and to help and to impact for the kingdom of God. I just think we have to be responsible. We
Yeah.
have to be responsible, and that honestly is one of my goals this year. Like, I have goals of things that I want to do,
Yes, ma'am.
but I need to be responsible over my soul and my spirit and those who are connected to me.
Wow.
I got to make sure. I got to make sure, because the only constant that we have is our soul.
Yeah.
Our soul has a destination, right? My money is going to go up and down. The house may come and go. The
Woo.
car may come and go, but the soul is going to live forever. So not only is my soul important, but those who are connected and who are being impacted by me, your soul is important. So I
Wow.
have to be responsible enough to make sure that I am not just filling myself with anything, but filling myself with the things of God, so I may pour out the things of God.
Oh my good. Yo, people, are you listening to this? Sheesh. Tiff, you are dropping it. I wouldn't be surprised if you were called to pastor. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm not
No.
gonna. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna leave it right there. Um, let me ask you a question. So, because I know you have other things to do, and I know that you have things that you want to get to. So I don't want to top your schedule. So what can we do so I asked the question as it relates to the perspective of from the perspective of a worship leader, what we need to do, but just as the people who show up in the pew,
Hmm.
what can we do to maintain our appetite for God?
Hmm. Just as a regular person showing up, right? Just um, I think if I'm just a regular person, I don't want to say I'm just a regular person, but if I
Mm-hmm.
am just coming into a service and I'm looking, um, I think my responsibility now is Here's the reality.
Come
We're gonna
on.
all give an account. We're gonna give an account for ourselves,
Hey.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
So while yes, I pray that what you are feeding me is going to help me and impact me and turn me towards Jesus. I gotta take responsibility of myself too, right?
Come on.
I can't make everything lean on you. It can't
Right.
be, well, you didn't tell me this. Well,
Right.
you didn't help me here.
Yeah.
Even though it's our responsibility to do it.
Right.
But you can't lean on that. That
Right.
can't be your reason for not growing and having this hunger and thirst.
Wow.
And so I think that's a thing. You have to pray and ask God to restore and to renew that thirst.
Let's start there. Woo. Let's
You
start
gotta get
there.
real with God. Like, God, I have lost this. I have been wanting the
My
things that you've
gosh.
created and not necessarily you. You gotta be naked. You gotta be real with God. And I
Come
think He
on.
honors that.
Yeah.
He honors the fact that you are being so candor and saying, okay, God, I lost it along the way.
Yeah.
And I need you to help draw me back and get me to that space with you. And I believe God will help you there. He will meet
Yeah.
you right there. He'll
Wow.
meet you right there. Just like the
Right
woman at the
there.
well. He'll meet you there.
Right
He'll
there.
meet you.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. Something that you said that really resonated with me is that it's not, and I think that people, churchgoers, pastors, apostles, bishops, whoever, it is not all on the worship leader.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
has to give an account for what they did with their own soul. It is
Absolutely.
all of our individual responsibility to
Absolutely.
make sure that we maintain our hunger. And when our
Absolutely.
hunger is not what it should be, or when we start finding that we have foreign appetites, that we have to
Mm.
bring those things under the
Mhm.
subjection of Jesus Christ, to go
Mhm.
before Him and say, Lord, here is where I am. Help me
Yes.
get back to where you need me to be. That's kind of what you're
Yes.
saying, huh?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Tiff, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Listen,
I'm,
I wish I had more time with you. But listen, we are at our time.
I'm good with so go ahead.
Oh man. Oh goodness. I can't. We have to get you back on this show for a part 2 because
That's fine.
the just how fluid and how thoughtful and just how powerful the things are that you're saying. We have to have a part 2. We gotta hear more from the mind and heart of Tiff Joy, which is also, from what I'm perceiving, is also from the mind and heart of God. I know that we're way better for what. All right, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Just to recap, the topic of today is the worshiper's appetite. Are we still hungry for God? The worshiper's appetite. Are we still hungry for God? And right before me, I have the one and only, the singer extraordinaire, songwriter, true worshiper, winner of Sunday's Best, the one and the only Joshua Rogers. Come on, can we make some noise for him right here in the studio right quick? What's up, man?
How are you, sir? Bless you, man. Thank y'all for having me.
Hey, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for being here. Listen, so real quick, I was, this has nothing to do with the interview, right? I was in Panera Bread, and I was listening to I may get the title wrong, but one of the lines is "I will trust you." It's the song where you're talking about trusting God.
Yes.
Man, when I say that croissant almost flew across the room. Bro, the way you were singing that song, and I know that you sing it, 'cause I know it's a song that's, that's highly requested. But like, it's like every time you sing it, it's like you feel it in here. And it almost it's not just an anointed song, but it also brings conviction where it's like, okay, are you trusting me? What more can you give to me? What more am I asking? What more am I requesting from you? So, bro, I just had to just shout that out, man. Thank you so much for that song. You're probably tired of singing it right now, but bro, I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Say it again.
I said it came from a sincere place. So I'm
Wow, I could dig it. I could dig it. And real quick, what was the place of that song? What place did that song come from for you?
uh, a ray of hope, and a reminder that God is a keeper.
Hmm.
When that song came to fruition, it was like dead in the middle of 2020.
Yeah.
Things were crazy, and not just on the pandemic, and just crazy all around. And, for me, as a traveling singer, it was like dead. So
Yeah.
just a combination of all of those different things. Going through that and watching how God kept me.
Yeah.
When me and got together and we just started talking about it, it just literally just became a testimony of how God kept us, and that, okay, God, I saw how you did this time. I have no choice but to trust you going forward. Because the truth is that especially at that point, we didn't know what the future held. We
Yes,
didn't know
sir.
what was, and so that was what it was. God, I'm still going to trust you because you kept me through all of this craziness I just went through this year, and I have no clue what is before me. So
Yeah.
that's take.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And even though that song came out, like 2020, 2022, we still find the sentiments for those songs, like still resonating so heavily even now, so thank you for that. Um, so listen, so the topic for today is the worshiper's appetite. Are we still hungry for God? So just like you said that you travel a lot, you're on the road a lot. You facilitate a lot of worship moments. That's what I feel like praise and worship leaders do. They're facilitating a worship moment, a congregational worship moment. Um, Let me ask you a question. In your travels, do you feel that, just in general, from what you see, do you still feel that there is still a sincere hunger for God amongst the people of God? Do you still feel that there's still like that strong, sincere, that strong hunger, that strong, insatiable desire for God?
I do. I
Hmm.
do. But I think the thing is that for a lot of us in the church, a lot of us
Hmm.
are burnt out. And so
Wow.
seeing, it's that hunger is really not even for those that are, in the church. It's those ones out there,
Hmm.
outside in the hedges, the byways. This younger generation, it's insane. How hungry, how thirsty, how
Hmm.
enthused. I've encountered some of these people just when it comes down to God. You know,
Hmm.
um, it's funny. I was talking to one person, and it was crazy. It reminded me of like this older mother that
Hmm.
I also met. She she has. I told us that she has this sweet salvation because it's so great and it's so sweet. It's like whatever you got. I just want a piece. I just want to
Wow.
slip. I want a whole dab on a nice one portion plate.
Hmm.
And so meeting this young person that had that same similar spirit, it was like it was crazy. And I mind you, I'm 28. About to be 29. So
Hmm.
I don't really consider myself to be old, but I don't really consider myself to be young too much
Hmm.
either.
Hmm.
And so, being in this space and in this position is just like, wow, it's crazy. But um, they're, like I said, they're not in that whole church
Yeah.
building
Hmm.
space. It's an unorthodox outreach and, going to where they are. A lot of them are doing a bunch of outreach. A lot of them are doing these protests and stuff like that. So with that, it's just crazy watching how it is because you go into these services and whoa,
Wow.
breath, you know.
Yeah.
Is there air in here? Because it's some of these places is become a thing of entertainment. It's become just a thing of um, uh, program, or is what I've done all my life.
Hmm.
But that real zeal and hunger for what is God saying to me now? What is God requiring of me now in this next phase, a step of my life?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Thank you for that. So it's almost like a bit of a mixed bag from what you were sharing. Like you still have like that. There's that where people can be so comfortable where it may not be as prevalent or as strong as it once was. But then you have like you mentioned before, some of the youth who have like this hunger and this desire. Have you found that when you're ministering in front of these young people, have you found um, your delivery or how you minister to that hunger um, change for what you do for them versus what you would do for like an older congregation? Because the older congregation, they have hunger, but the younger congregation, they also have a hunger, but they may require two different things. So
Approaches,
is
yeah.
that two different approaches? So do you find that in what you're doing as a traveling worship artist, or can you just give them all the same thing and they all just kind of just fall slain, rolling underneath the pew, and you got to drag them out, and because your voice does
Um,
that, sir.
that's funny because as an artist, I've always tried to be very well rounded.
Hmm.
So I've always tried to be people, keep that youth groove, urban side of me. While though I growing up apostolic, of course that old hymnal side of me is in the root is
Hmm.
just there. So it kind of made it easy as an artist to be able to do that. And when you step into the praise and worship aspect of it, it's definitely a much more not an entertainment thing, but definitely a much more spiritual thing.
Hmm.
Because then at that point, it's not even just a thing of okay, I got some older things here, so I'm gonna sing a couple of hymns, make sure I touch on yes, Jesus loves me, that type of stuff,
Hmm.
or this is youth day, so I got to make sure I give them God and me. Not
Hmm.
even a thing of that. It then becomes a thing of, okay, what in this moment is God requiring for this room to receive?
Wow. Wow.
So then at that point, then it no longer becomes a line in between,
Yeah.
because whatever it is that God is requirement of that whole room, no matter what age you are, is for you to receive. And so then it kind of changes into whatever that song or that moment may be. They're all open and ready and willing to receive it. So it's just crazy. There have been moments when I never forget I was in Arkansas, and you could tell that the room was a little weird. And so I just started singing yes. That's
Hmm.
it. Just yes. And it was just crazy how in that moment, that was the message for
Hmm.
the room to receive. And I started to see where those lines of indifference started to break. And it just
Wow.
became a unified moment of worship, a unified moment of, just that message, that moment. And so it was crazy. So I will say, I guess to have a more definitive um, answer, it can be both ways. As an artist, yes, there is a different approach to it. As a praise and worship leader, it's just simply a spiritual approach.
Wow. Wow. And first of all, to be able to live with both of those minds on one stage, that's a tremendous responsibility. That's a tremendous responsibility to have. And I commend you for carrying it well. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, one of the things that you said was that I really wanted to elevate was being sensitive to the spirit, and how the spirit would help you dictate and determine what songs need to be sung, no matter who's in the room, when we're sensitive to the Spirit of God. So this goes for, whatever pastor, praise and worship leader, psalmist, singer, lyricist, as long as we are obedient to the Spirit of God, He will give us what to give to His people. They are not our fans. They are His people. They are not our congregants. They are His people. And when we're sensitive to Him and we're acting as those worship shepherds, He'll let us know what grass, where to lead them beside the waters and whatnot. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Let me ask you another question. In reference to, we had a conversation with Tiff Joy, and
Okay. Love.
she's a powerhouse. She's so dope. Shout out Tiff. One of the things she mentioned was the impact of social media, and not only the impact of social media, but just the impact of culture and how we worship. Have you seen, and the impact isn't necessarily bad, because when you think about social media, when we all went through the pandemic, we had to use social media to still get the word out there, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, while service is going on, people had their phones out, recording everybody shouting. So it can work for us or against us. So in your experience, what are some of the changes that you've noticed with how culture and social media has impacted how we worship, or even impacted our appetite and our hunger for God?
I mean, hugely, as what you said, we've kind of fell out of being fully in the moment.
Mm.
But outside of that, it has expanded our reach.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of ministries, for a lot of churches, it has expanded our reach. It has allowed people who probably would never travel to see um, what you bring to the
Mm-hmm.
kingdom, are getting the chance and the opportunity to sincerely experience that. But it, I'm sorry, I'm hearing my grandmother.
Listen, it happens. It happens.
you know, uh, it's just the signs of the time, but the thing is that as things are happening, it's becoming so much, um, and a lot of us are receiving so much from everywhere, that some of us are getting confused, as
Mm.
okay, what do we really stand for?
Hmm.
What do I really believe in? It's a lot out there when it comes down to all that this culture has given us access to.
Yes, sir.
Um, that's not that, and that's in so many aspects. The history of the church, the history of the Bible, politics,
Mm.
relationships, sexuality. All of these different things is so much for so many people, and so it's a thing now where finding a ground
Yeah.
in all of this
Yeah.
has become drastically important. Knowing who you are,
Mm.
whose you are, what you believe, what you walk into, all of that is profoundly important in this culture, and in this space that we are in now. And so uh, I often, and I've been shifting my words, but I would often say, it's scary
Mm.
seeing where things are going, and
Mm.
seeing things are beginning to unfold. But then, as a believer, you just have to stand up and stand in that boldness of, it is what it shall be.
Yeah.
Whatever God says is what it shall be. And so just walking in your faith, walking in that relationship with God, staying grounded, in the faith that He is the one true living God. There's no other above Him, beyond Him.
Yes, sir.
But I'm a faith walker. I'm a faith believer. I believe in miracle signs and wonders. All of these
Mm-hmm.
different things. Knowing who that is completely for you, standing there, and walking in that, and keeping that tight around you. Going to social media, I have to switch up my home. And I'm learning I have to do that pretty often, because, like I said, we're in a space now where people are shifting.
Mm.
Me staying grounded where I'm at. Okay, where you were when I followed you, we were on the same page. But now, well,
Woo!
thank you for your time. But
Wow.
I gotta let you go here. And so it's just things like that. So yeah, it's that. And so I pray, that groundness for the world at large. I pray that peace, because I mean, just sanity is a real big word these days.
Mm.
just just in all of it, sanity
Yeah.
is a real big word. We're seeing so many things. So I've never seen so much violence so easily accessible. I've never
Bro.
seen it. I never thought that
Bro.
that would be the case. But I'm literally, you can just pick up your phone. It's scary even for kids, because now you're looking at children who are walking with electronic devices at the age of 2.
Yeah.
you pick up the phone and you can see somebody getting their brains blown out, you know, or a massacre happening, you know, like all it's crazy. But the thing is I oh wow, that's crazy. I trust in the Lord, you
Wow.
know, and so that's what it is for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Joshua, thank you so much for that, man. Thank you. You just dropped a lot right there, even down to just the flexibility and the nimbleness and the agility that we have to have in the spirit. You know, like when you said that, okay, yeah, I was following you over here, but I see that we're not on the same type of time right now. So just being able to keep that and holding on to the robe and the hem of our Savior. Thank you so much for that, man. And just what you said, standing on what we believe, knowing what we believe, and allowing that to serve as our foundation. Bro, thank you so much. Listen, real quick, my hope and my prayer for you is that the Lord will continue to deepen your roots and that he will continue to amplify your voice and that he will amplify your voice in ways that you have never seen before, where it crosses not just over here, but where it travels over water, where your voice literally travels over water. I thank you so much for your sacrifice. I thank you for your commitment. And my prayer is that God will restore and pour back into you every place that you've poured out and that you've invested in the sacrifices that nobody else knew that you made to stand committed to the things of the Lord, and that you will continue to stand and that you will be encouraged to continue to stand. Joshua, I appreciate you, man. I love you. Are there any upcoming projects that you want to share right now, or anything you're working on, or if you just want to say hi to somebody?
Not too much. You know, music is kind of at a pause. But I've just been doing ministry at my church. So I'm a minister of music at Powerhouse Ministries here in Columbia, Missouri.
Come on, shout out Powerhouse.
Yeah, Church of God in Christ. So outside of that, that's pretty kind of much been it. So to all of my supporters and people out there, man, thank you. Keep supporting me. Keep streaming, please. Keep all your radio stations. You know, all that good stuff, man. Of course, I'm still traveling. So if you want me to come and be where you are, fellowship with you, I am totally open to that. Reach out to my team. Of course, my social media is at the Joshua Rodgers. But listen, I thank you guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate any support because it's a choice. You don't have to do it. And so I thank you so much from the bottom and top of my heart. I love you guys so much. So that's it. I love everybody. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, the one and only Joshua Rodgers. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Beautiful people, we just wanted to have a moment to shout out our sponsor, one of our sponsors rather, Bellamore Salon. My homie and my friend, my good friend, Tanisha Tucker at Bellamore Salon, which is located at 5260 Castor Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19124. You can check her out at Bellamore Salon, and the phone number is 215-455-1144. So get that afro pick, get that perm done, get that curl, get whatever you need to get done. She got you covered. And if you're interested in being a sponsor, check me out on my social media, inbox me at TW Suggs, and we'll connect. Welcome back to the Tommy Talk Show, everybody. Hopefully everybody is still doing well. We've had some amazing conversations so far, and we're not done yet. If you're just tuning in, we are having a conversation around the worshiper's appetite, and we're ending it with the question, are we still hungry for God? The worshiper's appetite, are we still hungry for God? And to help us further navigate that conversation, we're going to have a group discussion. And I have some amazing people in here with me. I have the one and the only Bashir Hogue, 2-time Image Award winner, host of the Culture Talk Show, singer and songwriter. Woo woo. We have Kayla Johnson, singer, artist, lyricist, and gospel music veteran. Woo-hoo. Kayla, my big sis. And if you listen to the intro music, that is on the top me. That's my big sis Kayla, my big brother BJ, and also my niece Niall. So I love y'all for life. And I have my new homie, Scot Stevens, renowned songwriter, producer, and musician. What's up, bro?
What's happening?
Hey, thank you so much for coming, man.
Not a problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So how is everybody feeling today?
Good.
Everybody's good?
Awesome.
Yeah? All right,
Yes,
cool. So you already know what we're discussing and what we're talking about today, the worshiper's appetite. Before we hop into the worshiper's appetite, I want to put this out here. I want to talk about the concert that you're having coming up. So when is the concert? What is the date, the time, the location, and how can people get tickets?
Oh, okay. It's called The Encounter. It's March the 25th, and it's at Golden Star Baptist Church. It starts at 7:00. Tickets, you can get them online. You can go to Ticketlocity. Or if you're in the area of 22nd Street in Philadelphia, you can just stop by the church on which is Golden Star Baptist Church tomorrow. And that's it. Or
awesome. No, that's good. That's
Okay.
good. Thank you. And what we have around us are people who will be participating, not even people, ministers who will be participating in the Encounter concert.
Mhm.
And I'm going to I'm going to bring in the rest of the group. But right now, Bashir, I want to know, why are you calling this concert the Encounter?
Well, because so I wasn't going to do it, but I've been. Well, we should be seeking God, but me and seeking God, it was more so like, okay, so I know you do other stuff, but I want you to gather some people together, and I want you to not show, but I want you to invite me to. It's more so like I want you to invite me to something that I can sit. And I can. This is God. I want you to invite me to somewhere I can just sit and just inhabit praises and worship. The Encounter has a lot to do with Isaiah 6. When Isaiah finally saw God when the King Isaiah had passed away. And we all know that King Isaiah he started off as a good king, but he got pious, and things happened where, he got, just unhumbled, and he started just doing things that wasn't good for the people. And then he died, and his son took over, and his son was even more wicked than him. So, but when God removed him, Isaiah was able to see God. Not like literally see God, but he was able to see God. But one thing I give credit to Isaiah for is that when he stood in front of God's presence, it was like, hold up, I'm unclean, and I'm with people that are unclean, and God was like, okay, I'm gonna fix that. I'm going to allow an angel to come down and put coal on your tongue. So now you're not dirty in front of me. So he recognized, okay, King Isaiah is gone. Now I can see God clearly. Yeah. So what we want people to do is not go out with your normal, come on. If that happens, that's okay. But at the same time, how many times does that happen? At events where you see that and people are like, you better shout, you better dance. And the thing is, I'm dancing, but I'm still going to dance my way back to a habit that I can't break. Wow. So what we want to do is invite people where they have this experience, where they, encounter God's presence, corporately. Yeah. Corporately. So of course, you mentioned Scot Stevens, who is the music director. And can I just say this real quick?
Go ahead.
The reason why I got Scott was because I've had people before to do certain music and just do the music. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm very blunt. I my thing was that wasn't it. Yeah. It wasn't it, and there's no aspersions on anybody. It's just that worship is a relationship with God. Yeah. So if that's not exhibited, then what are you doing? There's nothing. There's no reason for you to be before the people because you don't have a relationship. Wow. So I know Scott has a relationship, and I know Kayla has a relationship. So what God showed me was get this person strategically. I want these people. Yeah. And that's how that happened.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Woo. I'm sorry I took out of that.
No. You're fine. You're fine. So first thing, anybody who wants to come to the encounter, it's going to be on the 25th of March. You can get your tickets. But then the second thing that you said, Bashir, was you heard the hunger and the desire of God, where he said, create something almost like build a table that I can sit at.
Yeah.
Invite. So let me ask the group, do y'all feel that do we do a good job at inviting God, his presence, to our services, to our concerts, to our lives? What are your thoughts on it? Because for God to say, hey, build something that I can come to, which means that if we take the reverse of that, there are things that people are building that he cannot attend. So what are your thoughts on that? Do we have enough places where God can actually sit and rest and attend, or what do you all think?
Wow, that's loaded. You would want to think whatever we are putting together in the name of God or in the name of Christ and lifting his name and glorifying him and spreading his gospel, that we are creating that table for him to be invited, because it's about him. He should be at the table.
Yeah.
But that's not always so.
Wow.
Because we have gotten into, and it's a very thin line.
Yeah.
Between show and worship.
Wow.
And I say thin line because of our perception on what we believe is anointed, what we believe is God, what we believe, and it might not be.
Wow.
So that's a real and just I like the way he said, listen, the encounter is he's gonna be at the table, period.
Yeah.
That's the encounter. So go get your tickets if you want to meet Jesus at the table. If you want to meet him at the table,
come on.
It's not about who's gonna be on the program, me or anybody. It's about meeting him at the table.
Come on.
And bringing our gifts and our love and showering our, and pouring our oil out and just sitting at his feet and just taking that time out so he can get what he wants from me.
Wow. You know what? You touched on something about him getting what he wants from us.
Yes.
A lot of times that's not the focus of this relationship. Usually we're like, well, what can we get from him? And something else came up for me. Two more things. When you were saying sit at the table, all I heard was at the table. What's a smile? But let me ask you a question. Are there things that keeps God are there things that makes God push away from the table?
I'd like to add to that.
Yes,
I believe that Jesus just shouldn't be at the table, but he should be the head of the table.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? I really believe that's the issue. And I think it was brought up before. There's a mixed bag now. Like social media distracts us so much. Like there's a shifting. It seems like there's a remnant of believers who still get up at 3:00 in the morning and seek God's face.
Yes, sir.
And there are others doing other things. It seems like since the pandemic, there's been, as the scripture has talked about, a falling away from the church.
Wow. Yes, sir.
And we're comfortable in our bedroom slippers and eating bacon while we're watching.
Yes, sir.
We may turn on or not.
Wow.
But you remember there was a something special about just getting up and getting ready
Yes, sir.
to go to church.
Yes, sir.
And I believe that church has just been lulled into a state of kind of complacency, apostasy. I think I'm using the right word. But so
wow.
I would like to see Jesus at the head of the table.
Not just at the table, but at the head of the table. Wow, because there is a difference, because I think in many cases, even when you look in the Bible and you see how you may have like certain kings and stuff like that, it'll say that a certain king partially obeyed God, right? And I think that you have where he's invited to the table, but he's not the head because we want to control the table.
Yeah.
You know, let me ask you a question. How do we invite God to be the head of the table? What do we need to do in our lives to create a space where God is the head at the table?
Real quick, is this like corporately or individually?
You know what? What we do individually will manifest corporately.
Yes,
so
true. Okay,
go ahead, or however you want to do it.
All right. So I'll say this. Mm-hmm. So individually, yes, we should be seeking God for in our own time, because it's a relationship, like I said before. So if you're a layman and you go into the church more so, and you've came from seeking God already, but you come into the house where God is not welcomed. So you're the only person, or not the only person, but you're the only few persons that sought God in the morning, like, God, what's going on? That becomes really like a kind of a war, because it's like, well, I'm in a place where the people are not connecting, or they're not reverencing God's presence, or I will say they're not reverencing the house first, because most of the times now you have people that come and don't reverence the house. So it's like when you go in there and you see it, you have to question and ask yourself, well, if the people are acting like this, what is the head like?
Wow.
So, because however, if my son or somebody go out and act a certain way, they're a representation of who I am.
Yeah.
They may do certain things, like the sheep, he go over, but the shepherd but they may do certain things. However, they still have that stench of, I can't do that because my dad gonna get me. So I think it becomes a struggle when it comes to you being the seeker of God, and you go into the house where you have a lot of people, not everybody, but you have a lot of people who are not with that. They just kind of like, so I don't know. That's, for me, that would be a mixed question for me, or a mixed answer, because it's like, it's really hard to, and then you get some people that say, I don't understand what's going on, because I worship God, but it just feel like something not right in the atmosphere. Well, it has a lot to do with the people. And the thing is, you're at a point where, okay, God, do I pray for these people? Or do I just worship you by myself here, like while I'm here? And that's kind of difficult.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Yeah. I see Kayla's wheels turn. I see Scott got the deep prophetic brow on where he's We got like 2-3 more minutes. What are you all thinking in reference to
Go ahead. Go ahead, Scott.
What you were saying, is it an individual thing? Yeah, I do believe it starts with the individual.
Yes, sir.
And that's why I feel like we're leaders. I feel like we're called leaders, but the leader has to be the first partaker.
Yes, sir.
The leader has to be in place first in prayer. And and we should follow.
Yeah. Wow. Oh man, we are at our time. We have to do this again. We have to have like a part 2. Would y'all be okay with coming back for a part 2?
It's an hour, right? Oh, you
no, ain't no hour. We have to get y'all back in the studio for a part 2. Again, don't forget to get your tickets for the encounter, which is happening on March the 25th. You can visit Ticketocity and other platforms to get your tickets. Thank you again. Stay tuned as we continue our discussion around the worshiper's appetite. Thank you. So that is our show for today. Thank you all for joining us for the Tommy Talk Show around our discussion, the worshiper's appetite. Are we still hungry for God? Hopefully something was shared today that inspired you and that left you thinking. Check us out again. Stay tuned. Big shout out to my guy, our producer, Keith Pelzer, as we are at the Convos Lounge. Shout out to P3 Christian Radio and also to the Culture Talk Show family. We do this in collaboration with them. To iHeartRadio, and to all of you, thank you so much. I will see you all soon. Peace.